Yeah, we will invite you, sir. You, please be there. We will invite you. I request all the students to please come forward immediately. We are starting with the session. Over to Gautam Bapat. Dr. Gautam, please take over.
A very good morning and warm welcome to all the dignitaries for this important third day of G20 Interfaith Summit 2023. We all have gathered here for the important panel discussion, which is having the topic, the 4 C's: COVID, climate, conflict, and children. It is important that we discuss freely on this topic and try to find solution to the contemporary problems that we all are facing. My friends, to begin with this session, I would like to first request all the dignitaries to join hands for lighting the traditional lamp. I would like to request all the dignitaries to I would also like to request all the international delegates, Michael K. Young, Rodrigo Souza Alves, Cazuino Arm, Guano Diop, to kindly come forward for lighting the traditional lamp. Revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karat sir, Shri Rahul Karat sir are requested to join for lighting the traditional lamp. All the students, those who are walking in, are requested to come forward, please. The volunteers are requested to guide them to come forward and be seated. The volunteers are requested to guide the students to please come forward and be seated. We are lighting the traditional lamp in this important session. 4 C's: COVID, climate, conflict, and children. I request Michael K. Young, Rodrigo Vitorino Souza Alves, Cazuino Aram, Gunon Diop to join hands for lighting the traditional lamp. Let's give a big round of applause, my friends, as the traditional lamp is being lit, marking the beginning of 4 C's: COVID, climate, conflict, and children. An important discussion for entire globe. I now request the 4 C's, issues identified as the central to polycrisis we all are facing today. The panel will explore the interconnected issues from the faith to interfaith perspectives, highlighting the challenges that face communities and actions that faith-inspired organizations and policymakers, international organizations, and civil society organizations can take to support the communities in recovering from the impacts of COVID. I would now like to request all the dignitaries to join hands for ringing the bell of world peace. I request all the dignitaries to join hands for ringing the bell of world peace. I request the entire international delegation to please join hands for ringing the bell of world peace. A beautiful gathering of all the international delegates joining hands in ringing the bell of world peace. Let's give a big round of applause, my friends, as we are starting with this important session in the G20 Interfaith Summit 2023, Shaping World Peace and Sustainable Development through Interfaith Harmony. Thank you very much. I would now like to request Dr. Cole Durham, Michael K. Young, Rodrigo Veterno Souza Alves, Dr. Kerzavino Aram, and Gunoan Diop, revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karat sir, Sri Rahul Karat sir, to kindly come up stage. I request Michael K. Young, Rodrigo Veterno Souza Alves, Dr. Kerzavino Aram, Gunoan Diop to kindly come up stage along with Dr. Vishwanath Karat sir and Sri Rahul Karat sir. I request the Director of Shanti Ashram, Dr. Kerzavino Aram, to kindly come up stage. Thank you very much. My friends, the stage is all set to discuss one of the most important topic of contemporary times, the 4 C's: COVID, climate, conflicts, and children. It is really important and pertinent that we discuss openly on all these topics which are affecting everyone on this planet. Just as the problems are interconnected, proposed solutions will also be interconnected and stemmed from the central theme of how central international and local solidarity is to any action projects, as faith communities have an enormous amount of soft power with their prolific voice, as they responsibly to help change the societal values, redefining success. Let us take this discussion forward, but before I do that, I would like to request everyone on stage as well as in the audience to kindly rise in their seats for national anthem. I request everyone in the audience to kindly rise in their seats for Indian national anthem. And I request my technical team to kindly play the national anthem, please.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you very much. I request everyone to please keep standing. Please keep standing for an important prayer. My friends, this prayer is not related to any caste, creed, or any religion or any section of society. But if you pay attention to the words of this prayer purely talks about the well-being of entire humanity and our planet. So I request everyone to please fold their hands, close their eyes, bring the image of your mother, father, your deity in front of your eyes, and wholeheartedly participate in the World Peace Prayer.
ॐ
वेद प्रतिपाद्या जय जय स्वसंवेद्या आत्मरूपा देवा तूची गणेशु सकलार्थ मति प्रकाशु म्हणे निवृत्तीदासु अवधारी गोदी गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Thank you very much. I request everyone to be seated, please. My friends, I'm sure you would have experienced during this World Peace Prayer the feeling of containment. And to give us yet another experience of meditation, I would like to request the Associate Dean of Faculty of Peace Studies at MIT World Peace University, Professor Milind Patriji, to kindly come up on stage.
Very good morning once again to all of you. The great noble son of India, Swami Vivekananda, used to say that Upanishads, the ancient Indian traditions, always professed that the Upanishads, Vedas, they are the strength of courage. They have the capacity to invigorate not only a particular country, but the entire globe, the entire world. But he said that on the basis that when we become courageous, when we become fearless, only when we transcend the barriers of the space-time, when we transcend the mind, when we go beyond the mind. What is the way to go beyond mind? Thankfully, the Bharatiya traditions, the ancient wisdom traditions of India, the Bharat, always said that by meditating on the primordial sound or the Bij mantra, Om, A-U-M, Om, when we slowly learn how to practice it and slowly we become one with that, slowly the deeper layers of the mind we transcend and become one with that absolute. So here also once again, just like yesterday and day before, we will try to align ourselves with that absolute reality. When we control that nature, internal and external, then only we become one with that. So instead of talking only about that, let us be one with that, and that gives enormous amount of energy, enthusiasm, power from within. Om. Either you participate wholeheartedly so that this entire world peace dome reverberates with the vibrational energy of the Om, or you can simply listen if you just want to listen. So I request technical team to play Om. Keep your eyes closed. Keep your eyes closed. No movement, please. For 20 seconds, just witness the inner stillness in you. Thank you. You can gently open your eyes. And thank you once again for participating in this Om meditation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Patre, for giving us that beautiful experience. And now, before we go ahead in this session, I would like to request my team to kindly display a small film which is made on the theme of G20 Interfaith Summit.
This session is based on the 4 C's: COVID, climate, conflict, and children. The 4 C's are issues identified as central to the polycrisis that we are all facing today. The panel will explore these interconnected issues from a faith and interfaith perspective, highlighting the challenges that face communities and the actions that faith-inspired organizations, policymakers, international organizations, and civil society can take to support communities in recovering from the impacts of COVID. A call will also be made for the 4 new C's: connection, courage, creativity, to look at the new solutions and priorities, and cohesion, realizing it is going to take all of us to address these crises. In this session, we will discuss the 4 C's from a different angle.
Thank you very much. It is really important that we all come together and discuss these serious issues of COVID, climate, conflict, and children. This session is now ready to discuss this issue and understand the different angles of the same. But before we do that, I would like to request Shri Rahul V. Karat sir to kindly felicitate and welcome all the dignitaries on the dais. First and foremost, of course, I would like to request sir to kindly felicitate and welcome the President of G20 Interfaith Forum, USA, W. Cole Durham Jr. Please put your hands together and welcome with a round of applause, my friends, the President of G20 Interfaith Forum. I now request sir to kindly felicitate and welcome Michael K. Young, the Professor of Law and former President of Texas A&M University, former Chair of U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. Thank you very much, sir, for your presence. I would now like to request sir to kindly felicitate Rodrigo Vitorno Souza Alves, the research leader of Centro Brasilio Estudos. Thank you very much. I would also like to request sir to kindly felicitate and welcome Gunan Diop, the Director of Public Affairs and Religious Liberty, Seventh-day Adventist Church. A big round of applause for all the dignitaries on the dais. Thank you very much. And now to discuss the outcome and a quick recap of Day 1, I would like to invite on stage the President of G20 Interfaith Forum, W. Cole Durham Jr.
Well, thank you to Dr. Vishnawath Karad, Raul Karad, and the many university officials and students who have welcomed us, facilitated us, felicitated us, and contributed to both the substance and the pageantry of this event. We're thankful to be here in the World Peace Dome and all it stands for. Unity of science and spirituality, focus on peace, remembrance of the vulnerable, and encouragement to bring the best of religion to bear on the needs of global policy. We were grateful yesterday, among so many other things, for the World Peace Meditation led by Milind Patre, and which we have again participated in this morning, for the impressive coordination and organization efforts of Milind Pandey, and for all the many efforts of their team, including many university officials and staff and members of the impressive help of Student Liaison. We began yesterday with the overview of the history and types of contributions that have been made over the past decade by the G20 Interfaith Forum, summarized in the film clip from Catherine Marshall, our Vice President, detailing the past decade of work of the G20 Interfaith Forum and its objectives and its concern for the vulnerable. We had the benefit of the contribution of Swami Amritwarupananda Puri, an overview of what the C20 has been able to do this year, representing the way that India on so many fronts has raised the bar in terms of what a host country for the G20 can do. Among other things, we were reminded of how India's year in the C20 context has added the inclusion of religious voices to policy formation, an addition that the G20 Interfaith Forum endorses and supports. We were also reminded of the importance of learning from India and also from the developing world. One of our continuing recommendations this year, starting from a meeting we held in Ethiopia, has been that the African Union be included in the G20. And we're happy to report, I wish we could claim credit for this, but President Biden from the United States and President Modi here have endorsed this idea. Also, our leader from yesterday reminded us of a major C20 theme, "You are the light." We heard from the Honorable Sri Rahul Karad, Executive President of MIT World Peace University, and were reminded of impressive steps he has taken, among other things, with the recent initiative to bring 1,700 state-level legislators to India and from around India to help raise their voices in support of the idea of emphasizing the classical name for India, Bharat. He also urged us to cultivate gardens of peace. We heard from the Honorable Dr. Dalbar Singh, Chairman of the One Globe Forum and National Secretary of the Indian National Congress, who spoke of our desire for peace and his emphasis on the fact that peace and development go together. We had the benefit of hearing from Archbishop Felix Machado, Secretary General of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of India. He was able to attest decades of friendships with Vishwanath Karad and with MIT World Peace University. What you don't know is the personal sacrifice he made to be here, because he had some other commitments that he had to juggle just to be able to be with us. But that was part of the tribute to MIT WPU and to Professor Karad. He spoke of our longing for peace and the importance of realizing that religious voices are a major part of the solution to this world's ills. Sheikh-ul-Islam al-Shukur Pashazadeh, spiritual leader of Muslims in Azerbaijan and more broadly in the Caucasus, spoke of overcoming boundaries that separate us. We were then able to hear from Mrs. Marcia Dalal from the Baha'i community, spoke of how our diversity is good, but the process of coming to unity, a process that is occurring in history and that we are witnessing, is truly important. We were then able to hear Dr. Vishwanath Karad, who has been honored by the unveiling of a new statue
of Texas A&M University from May 1st, 2015 to June 1st, 2021. Michael K. Young has proven track record of academic leadership. During his tenure, Young led Texas A&M and its significantly growth in the national and international reputation as global Tier 1 research institute. As a longtime champion of academic success, Young helped launch the Lead by Example campaign, an ambitious fundraising effort that raised $4.25 billion to fund the substantial initiatives benefiting the students, faculty, and staff. The university also surpassed $1 billion annual research funding under his able leadership. Please put your hands together and welcome, with a round of applause, my friends, Michael K. Young.
Thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. I want to start, if I may, by offering congratulations to India for its hosting of the G20 meetings this year. I think we have seen how India has unparalleled dedication to its leadership, increasing the effectiveness and the efficiency of the leadership in a way that will provide information to the G20, raise the stakes of what they need to decide and what they must do, and set an example for the rest of the world as it assumes leadership for the G20. So congratulations to India. I think that is a tremendous accomplishment. If I may also take a moment and offer congratulations to our wonderful host, Dr. Karad. I see that wonderful statue out there. I sit in this beautiful Peace Dome, all of which are tremendous tributes to you. But from my perspective, the greatest tribute to you walks across this campus every day with the thousands, tens of thousands of students who have been trained under your direction and leadership, who have been able themselves to go out and make great contributions to India and the world. Every one of them is a monument to you. We are honored to be in your presence. Congratulations. Thank you. If I may say very briefly a word about the 4 C's, COVID, climate, conflict, and children, and make just a few simple points. First, I think it's important to understand how interrelated each of these issues may be. If we look at this, for example, through the eyes of children, which are one of the C's, we see just exactly how important those interconnections are. We talk about COVID. COVID reminds us of healthcare and the lack of healthcare around the world. Indeed, by the World Health Organization's estimates, 50%, 3.5 billion people around the world do not have adequate access to the healthcare they need. COVID also deeply disrupted education and shows us just how much work needs to be done to provide the educational opportunities to children who are our future. Almost 60 million children don't go to primary school. Imagine that number, 60 million children have no access to primary school. 244 million people under the age of 18 have had no access to education throughout their lives. This is a tragedy. This is related to everything else, the capacity to reduce conflict, to create mutual understanding that generates peace. These things become impossible without our capacity to educate the future. Climate. 50 million children have been displaced from their home by climate-related events, sometimes temporary, often permanently. And then conflict. Almost 45 million children have been forcefully displaced from their homes by the end of last year. 60% of it was in country, but still without any of the access to the resources they need to thrive, to grow, to develop, to themselves become contributing citizens in the world. And if we go even further, we find even more distressing statistics. 100 million children, by UN estimates, are what they call street children, which means they are entirely homeless, without parents, without education, without health care, without access to any of the resources that they need. So today's panel is particularly important, but it must, with all of us, take us beyond talk. I spent many years at the University of Washington. We frequently met with the leaders of the nations, the indigenous nations in that part of the world, in the northwest part of the United States. And we would meet and we would talk about how we could provide the best educational opportunities for their young people. And at the conclusion of every meeting, one of the leaders would come up to me and said, "Is this just small talk in big rooms? Are we just going to talk, or are we going to actually do something?" The truth of the matter is, as I cite those statistics, we understand the limitations governments have. I was reading a few days ago about the climate summit in Kenya right now. But the statistics underlying it are scary. 80% of Kenyans live on less than $5 a day. There is no capacity for that government to raise taxes. How does it address these issues? And that is true throughout much of the world, that governments, as much as they aspire to serve their citizens, find limitations. That's a challenge. So what do we do about that? Investment also generally goes to the richest countries that are the most stable, that have the largest educated workforce, and so forth. So the very thing that might improve the condition of these countries and address these issues often is misdirected in ways that really don't allow growth of the sort that solves these problems in these countries. So is it hopeless? Is there a solution? I believe that we are trying to identify a solution here, and the fact that this is related to faith-based organizations is no accident. If 80% of the world identifies with a religion and has a religious sentiment, think of the power that that generates if we could mobilize those religious adherents and their institutions. And indeed, this service is the bedrock of so many religions. We are, as people of the book that I am, judged by how we take care of the widows and the orphans. In other faiths, they're judged by how they take care of the community. There are notions so powerful of harmony, of helping every living thing in religions all over the world. Can we find a way that that 80% of the world's population that describes themselves as religious become aware of these issues, help us address those issues, partner with their governments? That's complicated. We all know the risk of partnerships with religious organizations and governments that it presents. But can we find modalities, can we find ways in which we can mobilize, which the governments be able to take advantage of, the great power that is vested in humanity and vested in these people with religious sensibilities? Can it be done in harmony without the problems that we identify? We have a wonderful panel today to address these issues, address the 4 C's, which are the problems, and offer what we hope might be 4 additional C's that are solutions and not simply additional problems today. I'm delighted to have our panelists with today. Each will be introduced in turn as they help us think through these critical issues. So thank you so much for everyone who is with us today. We appreciate your presence, your attendance, and we will ultimately appreciate that it won't just be small talk in big rooms. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Young. Thank you very much for a beautiful address and your words of wisdom. My friends, the next important panel member whom I'm going to invite on stage is Rodrigo Vitorino Souza Alves, who is a distinguished figure in the field of law and religious studies in Brazil, recognized for his academic leadership and contributions. He holds the position of research leader at Brazilian Center for Studies and Law and Religion. He is a respected professor in the Faculty of Law at the Federal University of Uberlândia. Please put your hands together and welcome with a round of applause, Rodrigo Vitorino Souza Alves.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction and also for the invitation. I would like to thank the convener of this conference, Dr. Karad, and the president of IF20, Cole Durhan. Thank you so much for this invitation to join this important event, a global event on how we could shape world peace and sustainability and sustainable development through interfaith harmony. So for me, it's a great honor to be here. And I would like to share some thoughts on the topic of this panel with the title, No Children Left Behind. Children around the world, especially children at risk of poverty and social exclusion, have been disproportionately affected by the pandemic of COVID-19, climate change, and conflict. Vulnerable children include children from low-income families, children with disabilities, children living in detention centers, children from ethnic minorities, migrants, refugees, children living in areas affected by natural disasters or in conflict zones. Geography, unfortunately, remains as an important factor for the well-being of children, as progress and development are still unequal in the world. Disadvantaged children are victims of multiple and intersectional human rights violations, as they are deeply affected by lack of access to quality education, clean water, sanitation, hygiene, immunization and health services, adequate nutrition, peace and security, protection against air pollution, chemical pollution, landslides, heat waves, among others. COVID pandemic, violent conflicts, and climate instability require short and long-term responses, aiming to address and mitigate their devastating and disproportional impact on vulnerable children, on their physical and psychological well-being. Those problems have set back efforts to the realization of rights of children in many parts of the world. And what is, or what should be, or could be, the role of faith communities in building a better future for the children and for future generations? In various contexts, faith communities or religions are perceived as divisive, as political, as a part of many of the problems we are trying to overcome. Although that might be right, as Catherine Marshall would say, they can play an important role for the solution of those problems. Faith communities around the world have contributed immensely to human development throughout history. Examples include health and educational services provided by religious institutions, as well as humanitarian assistance, volunteer programs, capacity building initiatives, peace building activities, and nature preservation. I am sure any of us could think of institutions and projects where we could find examples and best practices to be followed. The religious world, however, is complex, especially in societies that are plural, polarized, divided, and sometimes deeply divided due to the coexistence of worldviews that are different. The solution is not to find uniformity or a general agreement on what is true. We are different. Our societies, groups, and we as individuals may hold competing views on the cosmos, spirituality, and religious life. Nevertheless, searching for common ground through dialogue might contribute to social cohesion, as well as to the promotion of human rights and human dignity, especially for children. As a set of recommendations to government, civil society actors, and faith communities, I would suggest, firstly, that we should equip faith communities with knowledge, skills, for the promotion of the well-being of children in the context of COVID, of pandemic, of conflict, and climate insecurity. Secondly, I would suggest that we should learn from faith communities, from traditional knowledge, from the work on the ground that they have been doing for centuries on all those areas. Thirdly, we should engage with faith communities strategically for the realization of the rights of children. And finally, we should respect, protect, and promote freedom of religion or belief for everyone, everywhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. My friends, next important person on the panel we have to discuss this topic is Gunoan Diop, the Director of Public Affairs and Religious Liberty at Seventh-day Adventist Church. He is a prominent Seventh-day Adventist leader known for his work in interfaith dialogue, religious freedom advocacy, and global humanitarian efforts. He held significant positions within the Seventh-day Adventist Church and was actively engaged in various international initiatives. Dr. Diop served as the Director of Public Affairs and Religious Liberty for the Seventh-day Adventist World Church. In this role, he played a key role in advocating for the religious freedom, promoting dialogue among the different religious groups, and addressing issues related to human rights and social justice. Please put your hands together and welcome with a round of applause Dr. Gunoan Diop.
Thank you so very much for your kind words of introduction. I would like to also honor our distinguished leaders here. Mr. Cole Durham, thank you so much for the invitation. I would like to take you back to 1948. Something significant happened. Nations came together after tragic events. 60 million people just died. And people started asking the question, but what is the value of life? Nations agreed on a kind of peace treaty in the form of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Interestingly enough, that declaration was a new compass for the human family. Now, this happened in a political context, even though religious leaders participated in the drafting and framing of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. But how did we get there? It took a crisis of certain magnitude, the death, as I said, of 60 million people, to motivate people to choose another path. But one has to go back, and I will take you back to now 1648. What happened? Another peace treaty. After 30 years of wars, religious war, by the way, and this time between Catholics and Protestants, so people came with a peace treaty. Again, a crisis followed by a peace treaty. We hope that this will be the end of it. And by the way, that peace treaty is understood as the birth of the system of European nation state. That peace did not last because it was not universal, it was not comprehensive, and it was not inclusive. It was in the context of Europe. Fast forward to 1918. This time, the treaty, a peace treaty, Versailles. Again, the League of Nations was formed. Interestingly enough, that peace did not last either. Now, we could fast forward, of course, to 1948, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Will this peace last? Since that time, there were several wars between nations, even as we speak right now. Peace was at the heart of the United Nations. Now think about the three pillars of the UN. The first pillar, this was a consensus of nations. The first pillar was peace and security. Second pillar, justice and development. Third pillar, human rights and actually freedom from fear, freedom from want, and freedom to live in dignity. Peace is at the heart of it all, but somehow peace has been elusive. It could be that today a new peace treaty is needed. Again, comprehensive. How can we talk peace when people are suffering? The richest place on earth right now. I mean, think about, I would like to maybe mention two examples. One is Niger. You know, West Africa is going through quite a bit right now because of the coups, military coups. But why is that so? One example, Niger has basically the third largest resource of uranium around the world. But 85% of its population do not have electricity. Take another case, Katanga in the Congo. It's remarkable, the riches in that region. Think about it. What the world needs today, the region is brimming with cobalt, copper, iron, zinc, tin, nickel, manganese, germanium, tantalum, tungsten, uranium, gold, silver, lithium. But people are in an abject poverty. How could that be? So peace has to be inclusive, comprehensive. Peace at a personal level, peace at an interpersonal level, peace at a societal level, peace at national level, peace also at international level. And this is where I will appeal to what is already indicated in this structure, in this building. Faith-based organizations, religions, to lead one who said, blessed are the peacemakers. You take the case of Islam, the same thing, even the word Islam from salam, peace, and so many words connected to this. Salam, peace, salute, salutation. Silm, peace, opposed to war. Salama, to give, to greet, to agree. Salima, to be saved, escape. And the same thing can be also expanded to major Asian religions, religious tradition connected to the quest of peace because of the restlessness of human soul. Release from reincarnation, samsara, peace. Moksha in Hinduism, connected to peace. Nirvana in Buddhism. And when we think about even the three jewels, whether wisdom, compassion, harmlessness, they are all connected to peace. So religions have something to bring to the table when it comes to peace. And this is my humble appeal to this distinguished audience, that we live according to what we say we believe, because then there will be human solidarity, one humanity, one human family, where everybody is considered according to an infinite dignity. Because again, there is no degree in dignity. Even a newborn baby has infinite dignity. But somehow, we would like to focus on domination, putting people above others. That cannot foster peace. So maybe we need a new peace treaty where religious people get deeply involved. When people are sick, healing will come in solidarity, whether COVID or any other disease. If there is conflict, again, the passion for reconciliation and the love for the whole human family. May peace prevail.
Please put your hands together and give a big round of applause, my friends. And I think we should give a standing ovation to Dr. Gunawan Diop for his beautiful address. A big round of applause, my friends. He definitely deserves one. Thank you very much. And what a good fortune that we are discussing various issues related to peace in this magnificent dome. My friends, this architectural wonder stands tall at 263 feet and has a diameter of 160 feet. The height of this dome is 96 feet, and whereas the height of the total structure from the ground is approx 263 feet. The inside sitting area where we are occupying is actually, it has 20,000 square feet. My friends, this architectural wonder was completed in year 2018, and it was accomplished after 15 years of perseverance, dedication, and hard work of over 10,000 people comprising of engineers, workers, artists from all the communities. My friends, the World Peace Dome is a symbol of hope. It is a symbol of inspiration for people across the globe. It is a reminder that peace is possible and that we all have a role to play in it to make a peaceful world for all of us. My friends, I would like to take a moment here and would like to request my team if they can show us the visuals about the World Peace Dome. Over to you, team.
My dear learned friends, I am the original creative element of this vast universe. I am knowledge divine. I have no beginning. I have no end. Dear friends, way back in the 13th century, the philosopher Saint Sri Dnyaneshwar from India said that the entire infinite universe is a manifestation of pure intelligence and consciousness, the ultimate reality, the ultimate truth, Almighty God, which operates in a cyclic form and which was assertively confirmed by latter-day scientists like Dr. Albert Einstein, Dr. Erwin Schrödinger, Dr. Roger Penrose, and others. For the last many millennia, intelligent beings have worshipped me in various forms and have pursued me to find answers to many questions and solve many mysteries of this vast universe. Friends, I find it truly fascinating that the philosopher Saint Dnyaneshwar, at the tender age of only 16 years, enunciated and revealed to the entire world. At the age of only 16 years, Saint Dnyaneshwar narrated a commentary on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is considered as a treasure trove of knowledge divine in the form of Dnyaneshwari. It is indeed fortunate that today I, knowledge divine, have evolved and manifested in the form of a monumental creation, the world's largest dome, dedicated to peace, harmony, and humanity, which is truly a spiritually oriented scientific laboratory. The creator of this monument of miracle is the eminent visionary educationist from India, Professor Dr. Vishwanath D. Karad. My dear friends, it is a matter of great shame that today The entire world, be it the most powerful and developed nations to the poorest of the poor countries, are combating the devastating and horrifying coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, which has created a horrifying situation with a deathly silence prevailing throughout the world, with the fear looming large that humanity may not even see the end of the 21st century. Today, the need of the hour is to promote a culture of peace through the appropriate understanding of the role of science and spirituality, with the scientific component being represented by the body and the brain, and the spiritual component being represented by the mind and the soul, together making for the universal scientific laws or principles, Vishwatmak Tattva. Friends, from among the learned and wise people that took birth throughout known human history, I found philosopher Saint Shri Jnaneshwar to be a true embodiment of me, knowledge divine. Saint Jnaneshwar was not just a saint in the spiritual sense of the term, but a true philosopher who unfolded some very basic universal principles or secrets and assertively stated that the whole universe was an intelligent and conscious being. My dear friends, it is therefore quite befitting that the world's largest dome, a symbol of knowledge divine and peace, be named after this great philosopher, Saint Shri Jnaneshwar. This dome, which has taken form near the city of Pune in India, has become a beacon of humanity, universal brotherhood, and peaceful coexistence. In this 263-foot tall dome of 160 feet diameter, perhaps for the first time in known human history, stand 54 beautiful life-size bronze statues of some of the greatest saints, scientists and philosophers in this largest dome dedicated to world peace. They are those who over the years have found recognition as the true makers of world history, and they have assembled here in this wonderful dome like a round table conference to discuss the future of this world. My dear friends, this outstanding, magnificent domed structure is a true laboratory to bring about the harmony of science, spirituality, and philosophy, and conveys the eternal messages from the ancient Indian scriptures like Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world as one family, created in pure white marble. This beautiful structure is the product of the concept, planning, and architecture of the great visionary educationist, thinker, and philosopher, Professor Dr. Vishwanath D. Karad, founder of the world-renowned Myers MIT Group of Educational Institutions, Pune, India. An ardent follower of the great noble son of India, Swami Vivekananda, and a profound devotee of two of the greatest philosopher saints, Shri Jnaneshwar and Tukaram, Dr. Vishwanath Karad has been instrumental in creating some of the most amazing monuments like the embankments on the river Indrayani at Alandi near Pune, the huge multimedia coliseum for mass literacy also at Alandi, the most unique bridge of humanity, Ram Rahim Manavta Setu, the stunning Gautam Buddha Vihar and Lord Ram Temple in his native village of Rameshwar Rui in the Marathwada region of Maharashtra, the one-of-a-kind music academy in the world, Vishwa Shanti Sangeet Kala Academy, and many more. Dr. Vishwanath Karad's strong belief in the prophetic statement of Swami Vivekananda that The union of science and spirituality alone will bring harmony and peace to mankind has led him to promote the concept of value-based universal education in the various educational institutions and universities like the MIT World Peace University, Pune, India, the MIT Art, Design and Technology University, Rajbagh, established by him for the holistic development of the students and society at large. Our friends, through this unique monument of miracle, philosopher Saint Shri Jnaneshwar World Peace Prayer Hall, World Peace Dome, I would like to appeal to all right-thinking people to realize the message of peace and harmony being delivered by this dome and contribute their mites in creating a peace-loving, holistic, global society.
My friends, please put your hands together and welcome with a big round of applause the founder and chief patron of MITES MIT Pune and the president of MIT World Peace University and creator of this magnificent dome, Honorable revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath D. Karad.
I am extremely grateful to Cole Durham, who had made it possible to organize this unique event of G20 Interfaith Summit, discussing on the various subjects of common interest to all of us. And when I see the great scholars, thinkers, philosophers, scientists, men of religion and men of philosophy sitting on the dais and in the audience, it truly fills my heart with a sense of pride and pleasure when a brief introduction was made to you about the very purpose of this hall, which has been now recognized as a spiritually oriented scientific laboratory. अध्यात्म शास्त्र की वैज्ञानिक प्रयोगशाला के नाम से जाना जाता है. If you look around, all the statues standing like a round table conference, they are the greatest saints, the seers and the prophets from the entire world, belonging to different concepts of religions, and which is trying to convey the very message of what religion stands for. As per the words of wisdom spoken by the great noble son of India, Swami Vivekananda, on 11 September 1893, in the first World Parliament of Religions, Chicago. And when he had said, I think this sentence has been repeated so many times, but I still repeat it again, which is a clear indication of the very purpose behind this making of this monumental creation, which is not the biggest dome, but the message is more important. The concept behind is important. Why these great saints, the seers and the prophets are inside the dome, and outside the men like Einstein, Newton, Faraday and the world famous scientists of today, including the computer, the Google, the Facebook, internet, whatever words you can use, which has truly even proved beyond doubt. I am not saying this. It is being understood by the topmost scientists of the whole world, including Albert Einstein, Schrodinger, Penrose, you can take the names, and it has been our good fortune. And when I stand before you, friends, let me confess that I am not the doer, I am not the maker, but I am just an instrument. Basically, how and what way and with what purpose this dome came up, a long story behind, but having no architect, no planner, no designer, no computer, no big contractor, you will say, what do you speak, Professor Karad? How can it be possible? But it has been possible and it has come up. And you are all sitting here discussing the very purpose and the very duty of ours. What is our religion? What is our duty? Where from we have come? What the purpose of life and where we are going? Understanding the whole mechanism of the human body, the living cell, the smallest of the living cell, and myself or even the elephant, the most hectic animals, the mechanism is same. Friends, remember, the body and the brain and the soul and the mind. But very difficult to understand what is the nature of the soul. What is the chemistry of mind? It's a very typical question. I had the fortune of discussing this in MIT Boston when I was also attending some conference like this. What I would like to say very briefly, you are very wise, learned scholars, thinkers, philosophers, men of science, men of spirituality, the vice chancellors, the chancellors, the administrators, the men of law. And when we say men of law, what should be the law for ourselves? What is the law of nation? And when we make the laws, it should run close to the rule of life of the people. Because the rule of life of people is made by the universal, invisible force that makes it possible to understand the entire mechanism of the universe, mechanism of this life, and finally, some or the other, as you know it very well, friends. But till date, possibly for the last century too, when this Swami Vivekananda had set that time to remember that union of science, I repeat that sentence once again, and possibly that message will show us the divine light, the pathway for world peace. The purpose of this interfaith conference organized under the G20 is going to make us evolve some understanding through what is called as in this institution of the World Peace University, and all my teachers and the managers, the directors, we have come to a small conclusion for ourselves. I'm not trying to preach or teach you anything. I really stand here to learn and understand the mind and the heart of each other. And that networking of minds, the universalization of mind, what I say, and the hearts, ये बोलना उचित है कि नहीं पता नहीं. Our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, who has been doing so much, and he is the President of this G20 conference in India. So much is being said in our own language. It is a question of the heart and the soul, not only of mind. सिर्फ मन की बात नहीं है, दिल की भी बात है. छोटी बात है, कॉमन साइंटिफिक है. But remember, friends, when I stand before you, I do not stand before you as a founder, president of this institution, as a chancellor of 5 universities. These are not the words which can indicate my duty. I stand before you as a humble servant of humanity, because all our concern is not for India alone or any specific country you belong to, but it's going beyond the borders of the country, the nations, beyond the religion, the concept of the caste and the creed, and the different categories of the richest of the rich and the poorest of the poor. The mechanism is exactly the same. And the question is how and what way we can contribute our share, do and perform our duty. Duty toward the mother, the father, the family, the society, the nation and the entire world. कैसा है तुम्हारा दिल, कैसा है मन? And what way you can, you have been a very gifted people. I can see that all the people, maybe the richest of the rich, but what can you contribute for the well-being of the mankind? Going beyond caste, creed, religion, boundaries of nations. And as far as my understanding goes, friends, remember, religion is your own duty. Your own purpose of life, if you understand, as you have been occupying very great positions, and my duty too. Possibly that part of other feelings like the ego, lust, greed, hatred, hate speeches are the words which you have heard for the last 2 days. But I appeal to you, friends, that when you come, just have a look at this and possibly this may give you some message. Stand before any statue, whether which country it belongs, which religion, which faith you belong, that statue, and they will speak to you, they will converse with you. But you must have that sincerity and honesty and integrity and the purpose of life of your own self. याद करो अपनी माँ की, पिता की, अपने देश की, अपने धर्म की, और धर्म को जानने की थोड़ा सा प्रयास हो सकता है तो the very purpose of this conference, promoting the culture of peace. Once again, I really say thank you to Mr. Kolduram, who, because of him and Mr. Milind Pandey and our team, Rahul Karad, Mangesh, they have made it possible, and possibly the vibrations which will emanate from this World Peace Dome. Biggest, I repeat, biggest is not the issue. It's a structure. But there is a deep-rooted passion and fire in the belly of all of us. I repeat, there is a tremendous passion and fire in your belly, in your heart and mind, which will show you the path. Whatever belief you have, whatever God you believe in. The Einstein has said at the end of his life, after giving that equation E equal to mc square, E equal to mc square is the equation given by him. But he says at the end of his life, he says, "Oh God, now I realize that the entire universe is a manifestation of your intelligence and consciousness. And with this purpose, fortunately, being an engineer myself, being a teacher of engineering, having some understanding, we have just started the MIT School of Consciousness and Reality, the ultimate reality, the ultimate truth, which is ultimately in the form of, you may call Jesus or Krishna or Buddha, whatever names you give. My name is Vishwanath, given by parents. You may be called, somebody is called as a Pushpita or John or somebody else. These are the names given by our parents, the mother and the father. But it could be something different too. But that life cell is something universal beyond understanding. Because the nature plays a very great role. And that is the guiding light and a guiding spirit. I really say thank you so much, friends. There is so much to talk and discuss. But let's come together. And I request Mr. Dolkuram, and I said to him that if we can think of evolving, what purpose it will serve, I don't know. But I see that divine light, wherein we can have a Global Education Managing Council, like a body, not one more body or one more managing council. But if you put in your heart and mind with that passion and fire in the name of Almighty God and in the name of Mother and Father, possibly it may serve some purpose. That's my appeal to Mr. Kolduram and his team. And education, research and innovation are the three words which have come up now in the whole world. And that value-based universal education system. Every country has a different geography, different history, different cultures, different traditions, different religions. But if you understand religion is nothing but to perform your duty, that gives the real message for us, all of us. And this scientifically oriented and the spiritually oriented scientific laboratory, which will convey some message to the whole of human race. That's my personal feeling, friends. Thank you so much. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much, sir. Let's rise in our seats and give a standing ovation to revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karad, sir, for his magnificent thought, this magnificent creation, and I would say commitment for lifetime. A big round of applause, my friends. Thank you very much. And my friends, we have on stage a very, very special personality today. And to introduce that person to all of you, I would like to invite the Honorable Pro-Vice Chancellor of MIT World Peace University, Dr. Milind Pandeyji.
As rightly said, we have a very, very important personality from the government of India, that too from the Indian Space Research scientist, came all the way from Bangalore, ISRO Bangalore. The person who was involved in Chandrayaan 1, Chandrayaan 2, Chandrayaan 3, he is with us. With a big round of applause, please welcome Dr. Alok Srivastav. Alok, please be there, and I request Honorable Rahul Karad sir and Dr. Vishwanath Karad sir to honor Alok Srivastav ji. He is the PhD from IIT Bombay. He is working with ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, for more than 37 years. He is the Senior Director with the UR Rao Space Center, that is ISRO Satellite Center, Bangalore. He was linked with the Chandrayaan 1, Chandrayaan 2, Chandrayaan 3, and all the minute details to the entire nation given by Dr. Alok Srivastav. He was a focal point to give, the Prime Minister was abroad. He was the one who was directly informing our Honorable Prime Minister minute to minute for the progress of Chandrayaan 3. Today it's a great honor. He will be speaking on climate. I request Dr. Alok Srivastav to take it forward. Dr. Alok, please.
Respected Manani Karad sir, Sammani Rahul ji, all dignitaries on the dais, the dignitaries who came across the globe here to touch upon that particular event which should have been done 3 to 4 decades ago. Being a student of space science, I don't want to take right now more time, but I feel that climate change effort is being put by NASA, ISRO, joint venture. Very recently you will hear a satellite when I have been to NASA to review that. It is Nisar spacecraft which is going to be launched shortly. And we should have such kind of high resolution synthetic aperture radar to monitor the climate, the weather, the atmospheric parameters, so that we will be able to monitor how the change is taking place. Now coming to Chandrayaan, only 2 things. 1998 onwards, when I started designing Chandrayaan 1, I wasn't sure that very shortly we will be landing on moon surface. But it was orbiter. I have been to MIT to share my thoughts those days. Then came Chandrayaan 2. It was just 2.1 kilometer away from moon surface and we lost it. That time I shared my thought to Karat sir that day. ये किस मुकाम पे वहमो गुमान छोड़ गया, जहां पे साथ हरि ज्ञान ध्यान छोड़ गया, जरा सा उड़ता 2.1 किलोमीटर, जरा सा उड़ता तो मंजिल करीब थी, लेकिन परिंदा आखिरी लम्हों उड़ान छोड़ गया. That was Chandrayaan 2. We were in tears, but my dear friends, ISRO, my country, and personality and guidance like Karat sir never look back, but they look forward. They guide us, encourage us, and we continue to work. And on 23rd August, when I was personally briefing to Prime Minister because he was there in Johannesburg, I was briefing him minute to minute, second to second, and we landed. That's the last point I told. परों को खोल ज़माना उड़ान देखता है, परों को खोल ज़माना उड़ान देखता है, ज़मीं पे रह के क्या आसमान देखता है.
Thank you very much, sir. Such beautiful way of describing the success and failure of Chandrayaan 2 and 3. Thank you very much. My friends, we all are absolutely fortunate that we have a couple of minutes in hand so that I can take one or two questions from the audience. So if anybody is willing to ask any question related to COVID, climate, conflicts and children to anyone on the stage, please raise your hands. Our volunteers would reach you with the microphone. Anyone in the front rows as well as in the students are free to ask the questions. I would just request one. Please ask small questions so that I can take 2-3 questions. So just small question, small answer. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really beholden to Professor Vishwanath Karat and the entire team, the fraternity, Dr. Cole Durham, and all the galaxy of intellectuals, spiritual leaders. We must make this World Peace Dome a prototype, because what the world needs is a prototype of that confluence of science and religion, or science and technology on one hand, and religion and spirituality on the other hand. Can we make this a prototype and then see how it can be scalable, replicable?
Sure.
That will be the success.
Sure.
Thank you very much for the most inspiring time you have given us.
Thank you very much.
Namaskar.
Can we have a question, please? If any specific question, yes.
So,
please be specific. Please go ahead.
Greetings and thank you for this opportunity. So my question is to Gyanuddin Deb sir, that right now for last 8 years we are running an open sky schooling for slums children. As you have said, we have a lot of still the street children left. So what we can do in a very specific way when we can provide more and more quality education is still, as sir said, 100 of million street children are still pending. They don't have quality education. What can be done?
Okay.
Thank you.
I think what is happening here can be seen as a prototype, opening education, an inclusive one that will include everyone, basically. But this has to be thought very carefully with the global participation of the international community. See, even the concept of peace is so rich, for example, that we will gain to include various traditions to help us understand. But I think what is happening here, the connection between science and religion or spirituality, I think is a model to join rationality with spirituality. They are not exclusive. Unfortunately, in our world, you find sometimes a division between rationality and belief, as if belief is irrational, but it is not. So I think education can help people join, integrate, and this word was used in this context, integration of all human knowledge that can help us move forward.
Sure.
Basically.
Thank you very much for that answer. Thank you very much for the question. Please raise your hands if yes. Students, you are encouraged to take the advantage of this opportunity. We still have a couple of minutes. So if you have any question to anyone on the stage, please take advantage of this opportunity. Yes, sir.
COVID-19 has been used as an excuse to introduce these very dangerous new mRNA vaccines. They're being used to make substantial profits specifically by Bill Gates. It needs to be opposed absolutely. Please could one of the panel tell us how to do this?
Sure, thank you very much. The question is regarding the vaccines and the way they are making money, so how can we stop this? Anyone would like to respond? Anyone from the panel? Okay, I think we'll have to move on. Any questions? Raise your hands, please. Yes. Go ahead.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. As we know, we are in the G20 Interfaith Summit.
Your question is for whom?
I'm coming to the question.
Okay. No, question is for whom?
My question is to everyone.
Okay.
If anyone can answer, please answer this. So my question is, if we are talking about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, so one earth is one family now. But we are still divided into countries, right, from the beginning. So when the actions of one country have impact or consequences on the overall world or overall ecosystem, how does Interfaith Summit deal with that? Or G20 deal with that? Like maybe climate change, environmental factor or something like that. And we know that every country operates individually.
Okay.
They have their own law
Got
and
it.
all.
Got it.
So how does Interfaith Summit or G20 take action on this?
Understood. So the question is specifically that when we have different policies of different countries, how we can come on a common platform. Yes.
Friends, the question by the gentleman is directly pointing out to our family system in the world. I am reminded of some news in the Indian Express from India, a very famous English paper. The news was the greatest country possibly on this earth, like America or Britain, in Great Britain, the children in the age group of 11 and 10, they are having a tendency to make suicides. More tendency to make suicides. I was shocked. How can a child of 9, 10 or 11 think of doing a suicide? What must be the reason behind? And I just tried to inquire, discuss with friends, even from the learned people from abroad. And the thing which was revealed is little hurting. I'm not criticizing any community or any nation or their culture, but the remark was, unfortunately, the new situation with so much of affluence, so much of pleasures, so much of comforts. Unfortunately, I use the word again and again, in that country or in many other countries, the mother has no time to look after her own child. The father is in one club, the mother is in another club, was the remark given by the papers. So the meaning is essentially, The child has every comfort. A 5-star bungalow, 5-star car, 5-star school, everything is fine. But he doesn't receive a love and that affection from his own parents. It's a very typical remark. But remember, friends, unfortunately, world over, I had the fortune or good fortune that one of my students from MIT World Peace University was invited by some American school to speak, discuss and deliberate on this issue. What is the situation of the family system in the whole world? And unfortunately, the answer was the family system is on the pathway of ruin. Now it's a subject by itself. So maybe we have to think again and again.
True.
You have a 5-star bungalow, but there is no dialogue between the father, the mother, or the family. I don't blaming anybody. But the richest of the rich families, being a teacher, being a director, being a principal, I come across so many parents and they come to us and tell us, "Sir, professor, my daughter is not keeping the tradition of my family. She is getting into uncalled for behavioral acts. Kya kar sakte hain? What can we do?" I do not find the answer, really speaking, as a teacher, but this is a very typical issue of some uncalled for culture and the traditions which are being set by the new world community. And hence it is said, after this coronavirus at least, there is some realization that there is some invisible force or energy or the truth which we call as God, जो भी कहो, लेकिन introspection की थोड़ी ज़रूरत है.
True.
Of the family system itself. And possibly, of course, the institutions and the people like us, if we take up the lead and with that tremendous sense of commitment, courage and conviction too about the method, and understanding what spirituality stands for, understanding what science stands for, and what is the reason behind, why it is happening. इतना सुंदर दुनिया है, लेकिन सुख नहीं है.
Yes.
सच्चित आनंद की अनुभूति नहीं होती. The real happiness, real peace of mind. मुझे किसी ने पूछा था कि कराड sir, you have been talking so many times for last 40-45 years about world peace, whether you have peace in your own mind and heart. And I had to confess, no, I really does not have that real peace और satisfaction, सुख जिसे बोला जाता है, ये confess करना पड़ा मुझे. I have been having so much, but not for this reason, for some other reasons. I think we need to look into the very unique, the great family system, which ultimately leads to that world as one family.
True.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
If I may echo that as a wonderful answer to this question, but I want to add a small point because I think you ask a very important, very difficult question, and I'm going to use an example from which I derive two principles. I was in the US government some years ago and engaged in environmental negotiations, and we looked at ozone depletion. And I remember talking to a country, the leader or the chief negotiator from a country that was had a very low GDP, and was unwilling to join the ozone depletion agreements. And I asked them why. I said, it's clear that it increases cancer and skin cancer with the ozone depletion. And his response was, our people don't live long enough to die of cancer. These are very complex issues, difficult scientific and difficult political questions. So what I say to all of you in the audience, particularly all the students back there, Study this. Understand the complexities of it, both scientifically and politically and certainly ethically. That's important, I think. And the second part, I think, is that one has to be involved. Governments respond to what the citizens want in the vast majority of cases and what they need. One has to articulate that to the government and be very clear. From there, I think we can see ways of coming together, solutions that are mutually beneficial. But it can't be done without that understanding, and it can't be done without that political engagement.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry we have run short of time, but bring a round of applause for all the dignitaries for answering the questions from the audience. Thank you very much. My friends, as we have the right occasion and right moment to once again celebrate the success of Chandrayaan mission, I would like to request my technical team if they can quickly show us a small film made on Chandrayaan 3. Big round of applause once again for the success and commitment of ISRO and its scientists. Thank you very much for that. And with this, we have reached the conclusion of this important session. But before I conclude, I would like to invite and request all the delegates from different countries, all the foreign delegates, to kindly come up on stage for a beautiful photograph. I request each one of the foreign delegates to please come up on stage, please. Please, I can see many foreign delegates in third row. All are requested to please come up stage. I request all the delegates to please come up on stage and stand behind the delegates so that we can capture the photograph. I request all the delegates to please stand behind the delegates so that we can capture the photograph. I request only the foreign delegates to participate in this photograph. It's a beautiful photograph, my friends, and meanwhile, let me quickly share with all of you that immediately after this session, we are now going to get involved in the concurrent sessions. Let me share with you that in the Mahatma Gandhi Hall, we have this session on global perspective on education. In Gautam Buddha Hall, we have the session on healthcare. In Nelson Mandela Hall, we have protecting children and the vulnerable, and in the Joseph Smith Hall, we have the discussion on climate change. Let me share with you, my friends, we are now going to go one level below. All the sessions, the concurrent sessions are going to happen one level below, and all the discussions would be happening there. So it's a sincere request to all of you to vacate this hall after this session and go one level below and get involved in any of these 4 sessions of your interest. I repeat, Mahatma Gandhi Hall will have global presence on education, Gautam Buddha Hall will have discussion on healthcare, Nelson Mandela Hall will have protecting the children and vulnerable, and Joseph Smith Hall will have discussion on the climate change. All these 4 halls are right below where we are sitting, right below one level below this particular hall. Okay. So I would now like to request photographers, just give me a signal if we are done. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I request entire delegation to please stand downstairs so that we can capture another photograph with all the students. This is really important. Please come forward so that we can capture the photograph. आणि फोटोग्राफर्सना विनंती आहे की त्यांनी आता स्टेजवर यावं. A request to all the delegates to please assemble downstairs so that we can capture the photo. It's a beautiful panoramic photograph that we'll be able to capture. I request all the delegates to please join us downstairs for the photograph. I request everyone in the audience to please rise in their seats for the photograph. Student friends, delegates, please rise in your seats for the photograph. And after this photograph, we all are going to immediately assemble downstairs for the concurrent sessions of your choice. The President of G20 Interfaith Forum, W. Cole Durham Jr., sir. Such a beautiful gathering and beautiful photograph being captured. I request everyone in the delegates and everyone in the students to please hold each other's hands and hold them high in the sky to show our unity. I request everyone, please hold hands of each other standing next to you and hold them high in the sky. Guys, please, everyone, students, yes. Yes, it's such a beautiful photograph. We all are united for the cause of peace in the world and entire humanity. I request everyone to please hold hands and rise them high in the sky. Yes. A beautiful picture from here, a beautiful scene. As you can see on the screen, it is looking amazing and beautiful. A beautiful picture of unity of all nationalities, all religions, all ages. Thank you very much. A big round of applause for ourselves for making this session a grand success. Thank you very much. I now request all volunteers to open all the doors. Please open all the gates and let the participants continue for the concurrent sessions downstairs. Kindly open the main gate as well, and all the students and participants will now continue downstairs. After this concurrent session, all the students are requested to join us for lunch in the Pendal. After the first concurrent session, we will go for the lunch in the Pendal, and after lunch, we will join again for the second concurrent session at the same venues downstairs. So I would like to request all the students to use the 3 exit points, and please go to the first concurrent session, which would be followed by lunch and then the second concurrent session. I request everyone to kindly vacate this hall and continue for the first concurrent session downstairs in the 4 designated halls.